Greetings, Dwayne, CFRN. How you doing? Listen, here I am again, Monday night, the 12th day of December, 8:17 on the East Coast. Now, you know I like to get the Concierge Trade Alerts out no later than 9 p.m. Eastern. Here lately, I've been getting them out pretty early, but as the owner of a small business, well, it's not that small, but you got to wrestle with every headache imaginable. My webcam software locked up, had to uninstall it, reinstall it. I couldn't, like yell for the tech department while I went for a, I don't know, soft drink. Some of you mentioned it looks like I've been working out, or even that I've just worked out, perhaps. I have. I climbed the stairs to the office twice today, so yeah, I'm packing it on. Thanks for noticing. All right, listen. For those of you that caught the video over the weekend about the fake news, awesome. If you haven't, go check it out. It's on our YouTube page, youtube.com/CFRN. It's also on our Google blog, emini.cfrn.net. You'll also find last night's video, which was our Globex, our Sunday night Globex Open video, and we said, yo, this I think I actually did say yo, but what I meant was this could be one of the potentially, in regards to crude anyway, most important Globex Sunday night openings in a long time, in history. I don't know. Turns out I was right. Now, I've got to switch gears here, and I'm going to go over some of the stuff that I talked about last night. I'm going to show you what happened today. Once I go to the charts, I'll come back, say good night, tuck you in. We'll get ready for another hot day tomorrow. And once you see the charts, I got a little piece of something trapped in my from lunch, and anyway, that's what I'm doing. Anyway, we had a screaming hot day today. I'm going to show you. The charts are still running. You can't fake a live chart. All the photoshopping in the world, all the Camtasia, I don't care. You can't fake a live chart. So that's why we teach using live charts. Transparency. Let's see. Honesty, integrity. We used to have something that spelled hip. Honesty, integrity, prosperity. I'll go with that. Anyway, I think these videos are going to become a regular part of my life and your life, especially when you see what you can learn in a short period of time. Now, I kept that thing to 22 minutes last night. So, let's get cooking. Let's roll over to the charts. And again, once I show you everything that happened today in the live trading room, well, the live trading room, Michael recaps that because he handles the live trading room. I'm in the background answering questions, taking care of, stuff that arises. Life happens, you know how that is. And then we do a 30-minute break. We come back for 2 hours of live radio, at which he takes the helm and gives us a recap of everything we just saw in the live trading room so that we have it on tape. I know we don't use tape anymore, but you know what I mean. Then I come back and I do our good word for the day, talk about the headlines of the day, talk with our guest of the day, and then ultimately I do a recap an in-depth recap of every single Concierge Trade Alert that was emailed out to our subscribers the night before. Okay. Now I'm showing you the email with each instrument. We send out 8 markets, 2 trades per market. That's a total of 16. As most of you know, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So you got 8 times 2, that's 16. And then if they get tested a couple of times, you got more trade opportunities than, well, you could shake the proverbial stick at. Pretend this is a stick. Now, if you learn to be patient, if you learn to wait for the trade setups that I emailed you the night before that meet the criteria that I teach you in the private mentoring sessions, in other words, the ones that offer you the least amount of risk and the greatest upside potential, if you can learn to be patient and wait on those, man, it only takes 1 trade a day. Now, if you're bound and determined to trade more than once, God bless you. But let me just say, having a goal for the day, meeting that goal, and then putting the mouse away, leaving the office, leaving the markets behind, it's like back in the day. It's hunting season. You wake up and you know you got a family to feed over the winter because it's going to get bitter cold, right? And you set out with your gun on the first day of hunting season, and your wife gives you a kiss and packs you a little lunch, and all the kids give you a hug before they go to school. It's not even daylight yet, and you traipse off into the darkness. Come about 5 p.m. Mama's out on the porch looking, and she spots you off in the distance, and you're not alone. You got this big old deer over your shoulder. There's enough protein to feed the whole family for a couple months. They don't waste much of that deer, by the way. They hang the antlers on the wall, but the rest, they eat it. From toenail to tip of the nose. Yeah. The edible parts, of course. And the rest we turn into jerky, or they turn into jerky. So, there's something about when a man goes out and earns his bread for the day and comes home successful. And I'm going to tell you, the equally opposite side of that feeling is to go into work, sit down at the platform, man, you're feeling good, you had your quiet time, did your meditation, read a little scripture, maybe you burned a little incense, a few candles, I don't know how freaky you are. But anyway, got on your brand new body gel, you smell yourself, and you smell good. Yeah? Put on a trade, bada boom, bada bing, you make $5 grand. So you you deserve a little break, you know. So you get up, you walk around, maybe you do some stretches, you touch your toes 10 times. My grandmother told me if you touch your toes 10 times a day, you'll live forever. I don't think she actually meant forever, but I can say this. My dad's gone, my mom's gone, my little brother's gone. Only one left is me and Granny. She's 91, and then my dad's brother, who, for some reason, I don't know. We always got along. We just never built this warm and fuzzy relationship. Maybe it's because he lives in Georgia and I live where I live. So, anyway, back to the man who comes home at the end of the day. He knows he's fed his family for weeks or months to come. Now, he could have stood out there for 2 or 3 days, shooting, you know, and maybe that one deer was all he got. So by the time he drags in 3 days later, the wife's worried sick, kids think Dad took to drinking again, ran off and left him. you ought to just come home day one. That big, because there's a lot of work to be done. If you ever field dressed deer, and I haven't, but I watch the Alaskan bush people, and so I know how much work is involved in field dressing a deer or an elk or a moose, and it ain't no joke. It's not like a trip to the local Safeway or Albertsons or farmer's market. Did I say that I was going to go to the charts and come back and say goodbye? Let's see if we can pull that off. All right. To the charts. This is the highest weekly trading zone. Now, using some mathematics given to us by a man named Fibonacci many years ago, we determined that this little sliver of an area, if you were watching last Friday's show, you saw it in real time, and if you weren't, you can go to emini.cfrn.net, and guess what? You can listen to it and watch it. You could watch me draw the little box and tell you why I thought this could potentially be the high of the market, at least for now. I'm not saying the all-time high, just saying it was at the time the all-time high, and I gave you good reason why it could go to that level. All right. So now today we were looking to, for those of you who subscribe to the Concierge Trade Alerts, we were looking to sell 22.49. All right. We also said that if price got down to this little shaded area, you could expect some real good support. If you sold 22.49, the market gave you 2.25 points per contract available. What does that mean? Well, the S&P pays $50 a point. So if you make 2 points, just 2, that's $100 per contract per day, per contract. The S&P is only $500 in margin to trade a contract. So while, the market did nothing spectacular, it did do what I said it always does, gave us an opportunity to take 2 points out of the market. Now there's that rare occasion when we don't trigger or, some other crazy thing happens, but that's what happened in the S&P today. Let's go to the Dow. Last night, the Dow, where did these go? I just had them a minute ago. Oh, it's right here. Whoops. I think I just lost it. No, say it ain't so, Joe. I clicked the wrong thing. Alright, I can do this real quick. Okay. I just want to show you the email that went out last night. And just in case there's some, I'm not going to yank it out for every market, but I'm going to pull it out so that you can take a screenshot if you want or something. And this way you know that I'm not pulling your leg. Okay? Okay. Oops. Okay. Log in. Oh, man. I got to remember the login. Okay. got it right on the first try. Man. I had all this prepared and ready to go before my videos software took a dive, and then I had to manually reinstall it because I am the tech department. I need a bigger hat rack because I wear way too many hats for one man. But hey, I'm not complaining because I have a job. God has blessed me. I enjoy what I do. So how are you going to complain about that? So we're just waiting for this page over here to populate so that I can show you what it looked like last night when I sent out the alerts. Okay? I'm not going to yank it over every time because, well, this video will become the late night show. Man, I don't think either one of us is really up for that, are we? Are we? I don't know. How come you're not loading? Embarrassing me in front of millions of people. I'm kidding. You're embarrassing me in front of a few thousand of my closest friends. Which could become millions. How long does it take a web page to load? I mean, that's not even a rhetorical question. Do you want to kill this web page or do you want to wait? Well, oh, the plug-in stuff. Stop with the plug-in. Okay. Gosh. Please, commit this to memory. I'm not doing it again. Okay. On the Dow, the ES we already covered. The Dow, the Russell, Crude, NQ. I'm going to have it marked on the individual pages, but I just want you to know this is what the email looks like that shows up in your inbox when you become a subscriber. Okay? Alright. It's alright? It's alright. So on the Dow, we were looking to sell 19,745. First move down gave us 44 points available per contract. Now, if you were just trading to reach your goal for the day, then you had it here twice and then some. Now, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. See how we pulled back and tried to test? Oh, we missed it by just a couple of ticks, and we could have had this trade too. But we play by the rules, so this one got above the trigger, and down we go, pretty as you please. In 30 minutes, we got 34 points at $5 per point. It's not a lot, but it's $170 per contract. And since it only costs you $500 per contract to trade, based on the size of your account and your ability. See, whatever you do, don't come just throw a bunch of money at the market because you can. Spend a little time learning how to trade. Our mentoring program, it's only 90 days. If you're not willing to commit 90 days to learning a new trade that can help you earn an unlimited income and give you the incredible freedom of working anywhere in the world that has a fast, robust internet connection, if your daddy's still alive, he should take you out behind the woodshed. 90 days is nothing, okay? And then after the 90 days, if you like all that you've been able to enjoy, the live trading room and the weekly zones and the Thursday night workshops and all the stuff that's part of being a CFRN partner, you can remain an active partner, which means nothing changes, for just a minimal monthly fee. If you decide not to remain active, you get to keep the software for life. That's a sweet deal. And it's all done at a fraction of the price of that late night infomercial guy. So here we get back above the trigger and we drop 47 ticks. Okay, $5 a tick, 4 times 5 is $235 per tick. No, per contract, $235 per contract. If it costs $500 to trade one contract, that means it costs $5,000 to trade 10 contracts. You follow me? Okay, we're on the same page. Moving right along, let's go to the bonds. Here they are. All right, here's what happened, but that ain't the bonds. Oh, bonds. There we are. On the bonds, we said this vertical line, by the way, that's the time that the alert went out. The email went out last night, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Okay, it's going to go out probably a little later than that tonight, but not much. From 147.21, that's what the email said to sell. We dropped 11 ticks. It's like, man, that ain't nothing. Okay. Well, here's the other side of that story. It pays $31.25 per tick. That's why I say beginners, stay away from the bonds until you get some experience under your belt. Because as long as you're on the right side of the trade, hey, it's awesomeness. But if you're on the wrong side of the trade, it only takes 4 ticks to eat $125 out of your account per contract. Okay, so beginners, be very, very careful. Just admire the bonds, love the bonds, but stay away from them until the time comes to actually start trading them. And that time may never come for you. You may fall in love with the S&P because you can trade it around the clock. There's always somebody to take the other side of your trade, even if it's 100 contracts. So you don't need to learn anything else if you don't want to. Okay, this is the NASDAQ. We said to sell 49.82. The first drop gave us 112 points per contract available. Then there was a slight pullback, but the indicators at this point would have kept you in the trade if you were using our indicator set to trail your stop. This swing low here is 117 points. That's $2,340 per contract available. Per contract. How much does it cost to trade the NASDAQ? $500 per contract. Just imagine if you had on only 5 contracts. But you're not going to get out at the exact swing low. Why? Because you're going to trail your stop. Or use our indicators to tell you to the tick when to get out. So you're going to always leave something on the table. Do we fret over that? Do we fret over that? No, not a bit. Why? Because that's the way we do business. We always leave a little on the table. If you've read the story of Ruth, and if you know what gleaning the fields are, the way we see it is we're leaving a little something for the next guy. All right. We told our subscribers to buy 1043. It ran up 4.5 points times $50 per point. Oh, well, that's your goal for the day times 2. And the amount of risk required, basically negligible. Down here we said to sell 1029. And the first move gave you a whopping 2.5 points times $50 per point. But that's still your daily goal. And then some. And over here, you got stopped out. You've seen it on bumper stickers. You've seen it on t-shirts. Stops happen. And until you quit chasing stuff on Google in the middle of the night that will prevent you from ever being stopped out again, you'll never be able to become a trader. Because you got to accept that being stopped out is a part of trading. Just like getting your points for the day, just like reaching your goal for the day, getting stopped out is part of the deal. All right, we told our subscribers if you get a chance, sell 1157. They had a chance to take as much as $400 per contract on that trade in 30 minutes. We also said if you get the chance, buy 1166. They could have taken as much as 190. Did they? I doubt it. Why? Because remember, they're trailing their stop. So maybe they get out with 150, 140. Nothing wrong with that. That's per contract. Russell. Now, the Russell, not only is the Russell coming back to the CME in June, they've whacked the payout in half. It used to pay $100 per contract. Now it only pays $50. So it is what it is. We said to sell 1388 in our email, and the maximum available on this first move down was $350 per contract. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. On the second trip down, $850 per contract. Now, if we go back in the day, that's like 2 weeks ago, that would have been $700. That would have been $1,700. But it's not back in the day. It no longer pays $100 a point. It now pays $50 a point, just like the S&P. I'm sorry. I wish they hadn't have done that to you, but they did. Okay, here's that wild animal known as crude. Now, I have some fibs here because I was teaching a mentoring session earlier today, and I wanted to point out how the Fibonacci math works. I also, because the person that I was mentoring had spent a lifetime on Wall Street as an analyst, a very successful analyst. And he was confused a little bit because he's in the process of learning that the job of analyst and the job of trader, they're as different as night and day. Okay? One's a rainmaker, the other is an academic, a salaried type individual who knows a lot about the markets, who knows the ins and the outs, and can read a balance sheet, and who can tell you all kinds of things about a company. Why they succeed, why they should not succeed, all those fundamentals. The trader is the guy who actually puts on and takes off the trade. And like I said, he and I together, I'm helping him, I'm easing him into this, that it's a whole different ball game. And he said, you're right, it sure is. I had no idea. He said those words. He said, I had no idea. But yet he spent a career on Wall Street. Okay, now, here's what had happened. He had taken a long trade in crude on the 4-tick range chart. However, look at this on the 30-minute chart. I've put our indicators on the 30-minute chart. Now, look at what happens. we get a bearish cross, just like in the 4-tick range chart. We get a pullback to the BBC. Down we go. Sell the open to the next candle. Bang, $1,000 per contract. Also, for the Concierge Trade Alert clients who sold 53.40, they had an opportunity right here to pick up $600 per contract, but they probably got less. And price came back up to touch 53.40 right on the nose. Right on the nose, 53.40. Okay? And then what did it do? Came down, put in a low at 52.18. That's more than $1,000 per contract. At 52.40, that would have been 52.40 right there. Right there was the $1,000 per contract, 52.40, but you can see it went on a little beyond that. Now, while I had him in the mentoring session, I created this circle, which I placed over here, and I said, let's watch tonight and see if price doesn't go back up, find the BBC, find resistance, and possibly give us another leg down. Nature abhors a vacuum. Markets abhor a vacuum. What do we have here? We have a gap that has not closed. So, overnight, if we get a sell-off down into last week's weekly trading zone at 5140/5145, guess what? We fill the gap, which means at that point the market technically has permission to take off like a rocket ship because of the conference that was held on Tuesday between 21 OPEC and non-OPEC nations who for the first time, I get my numbers. There was an agreement made between OPEC and non-OPEC nations for the first time in 21 years to agree on something, and that's curtail production. Because there's a glut of oil right now. There's ships floating in the harbors everywhere, loaded with crude. Thursday, Ed Corey, our resident Elliottician, will be on the radio show to talk to us about that. Garrett's going to be on the show tomorrow to talk to us about this 256-year cycle or something that's going on. That Monday, when they confirm the Electoral College votes, it ties in with when the Founding Fathers created the Electoral College. He kind of explained it to me today. I was in a big hurry because I had to get on the show. He's going to be on tomorrow to talk about that. Wayne Jett will be on Wednesday, full of surprises as always. And then Thursday, Ed Corey, who we trade contracts, he used to trade cargo ships of crude. All right? So it's going to be really interesting to get his take on this. Now, we have in place a large weekly trade on crude. It's a free trade. You can get it by going to emini.cfrn.net. If it triggers, remember today's only Monday, if it triggers, there's a high probability that you will need to hold the position overnight. Talk to your broker. Find out what's going to happen. Sometimes they'll give you 3 days to cover. Other times they'll just liquidate the position and throw you in the penalty box because you got a margin call. Talk to your broker before you take that weekly free trade on crude at emini.cfrn.net. While you're there, you might as well read the article and watch the video about fake news. It is a huge problem. It is the modern day scourge of the internet. What used to be the schoolyard bully, yeah, now it's fake news. All right? So watch it, read it, And I'd love to hear your opinion on it. In fact, call me. Don't be afraid, you can call me. Okay, now I want to show you on the 4-tick range chart really quick. Then we're going to be done with charts. We'll be chartless. GCLF. Okay. Now, I want you to look at this. Okay. There is a bullish setup, bullish cross, price pulled away, price pulled back. A lot of people saying, but you know, I don't know about a lot of people, but some people might be saying, looks like it's time to catch a leg up. But what we're looking for is we're looking for a bearish cross, price to pull away, price to pull back, down close, which, oh, do we already have that? Lands of Goshen. If this candle closes down, that means when it's done in 4 minutes, it's a doji right now, which means indecision, but in 4 minutes, if it happens to close red, that means we sell the open of the next candle. Or we use that as a backdrop and we simply wait for this to give us a short setup based on the 4-tick range and the rules of the 4-tick range. Let me tell you a little something. The CFMA1, which is the backbone of our indicator set, and the cycle indicator, which is the second backbone, we got a double vertebrate indicator set. When those two babies are red and falling, I would suggest looking for lower prices. When they're both blue and climbing, I'd suggest looking for higher prices, especially if it confirms with the higher time frame. Now your higher time frame could be 10 ticks, it could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be a daily. It can be whatever you want it to be, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever puts you in the zone so that you sit down with a smile and you get up with a smile. It's not a smirk. You never become arrogant, overbearing. You have a quiet confidence about you. That's a sign of strength. Look at this bearish cross coming. Look at it. We'll take you back one more time to this 30-minute chart. Okay. Oh, did I see a flash of red? If it doesn't close red in 2 minutes, wait for the next candle, see what happens, and then take your trade accordingly. All right. I'm going to flip this thing around and I'm going to come back and talk to you for just a minute. Sit tight. Don't go away. Told you I was coming back, and I didn't. All right. What you saw is what really happened. Last night I said I'm getting ready to send this letter out. I sent the letter out. People traded what I sent out today. And there's going to be a little something extra in a few folks' stockings this Christmas. Now, I admit, sometimes I lay awake at night and I say, Dwayne, why do some people not learn how to trade? And I've decided that I don't know the answer to that. I mean, some people actually can't. It's not in their physiological makeup. They don't have the emotions for it. They don't have the discipline. They don't have the patience. See, we can give you the tools, we can give you the head knowledge, we can give you the coaching and the guidance and all of that. Man, we can teach you how to think in probabilities. But there's a certain stuff that's got to come from in here. Okay? I can't put it there. You can't buy it, rent it, steal it. When God created you, He either put it in there or He didn't. Chances are He did. You just haven't figured out how to connect to it. So before you take your next trading class, maybe you need to, get in touch with my feelings class. Or maybe you've gone too far in that direction and you need to go to, some kind of boot camp somewhere so you can toughen up and not be so tender-hearted. Because trading, there's nothing personal. The market's not out to get you. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't even know if you're there, not there, and not to hurt your feelings, it could care less. And that's the beautiful thing about the markets, because if you decide to take a day off, you don't have to call anybody. You don't have to make up any outlandish lies about how your grandmother's died for the 9th time now, As an employer, I used to get those calls. Hello. Hey, man. You're not going to believe what happened. My grandmother died. And I'm like, again? It was the other side of the family. Oh, well, I know, but this is the 4th time. How many sides of the family you got? You got a square? So, anyway, not to make fun of anyone whose grandmother's passed. But how awesome to have a job that you can work when you're pumped and you're primed and you feel like it, and when you're not, you don't have to, and nobody's gonna get mad, write you up, give you the boot, kick you to the curb, the pink slip, all that. Forget about it. You're your own boss. You got no employees, you got no inventory. The only cost of doing business you have really is trades that get stopped out and commissions. You're already paying for electricity. You already got a computer. Yes, you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars buying a souped up trading computer, but you don't have to do that. You could just Google Emini Trading Computers and we'll pop right to the top, and you can buy from us what I call the workhorse model, which is more horsepower than you'll ever need. And if all you ever do is use that computer for trading, which is what I suggest, because that's your tool of the trade, that's your hammer, that's your screwdriver, that's your briefcase if you were an attorney. And so the kids, mom, nobody should be playing with it. Nobody should be fiddling with it. Nobody should be laying hands on it. Okay? It's off limits. If you purchase that workhorse that we offer, guess what? It'll probably last you a lifetime. And if it doesn't last you a lifetime, it'll at least last you 5 years. So I'm going to leave it at that, because I want you to get to bed early so you can get up early, so you can get your platform downloaded, indicators installed, and get yourself in that live trading room so you can begin the journey. Okay? Now, this free trial, just because it's free, right? Some people don't take it seriously. Oh, well, it can't be that big a deal if it's free. Well, that's just ridiculous, all right? It's free because we want you to have an opportunity to make a well-informed decision as to whether or not we have to offer is right for you without you having to spend one thin dime. Now, I ask you a question. Do you think it costs us anything for you to take a free trial? You better believe it. We have to allocate all kinds of resources. We got to get you going with the demo platform. We got to get indicators up and going for you. There's paperwork to deal with. There's stuff with a capital S. But that's our business model. We want to be honest. We want to have lots of integrity. I keep forgetting the P. I guess prosperous. Hip. We're the hip guys. So, seriously, apply.cfrn.net. One more time, apply.cfrn.net. You watch that crude tonight, please pay attention to what I said. I think I put you into a really good position. And tomorrow night my goal is to do the same thing on the S&P and gold and crude. So I hope you'll tune in. Thanks. Have a great evening. See you in the morning. Take care.